Behind the Shades.
What's something that you'd want to leave with those who are maybe finding it difficult to deal with what they're dealing through, but they may not have the support system around them because they're feeling abandoned at this point?
That's a tough one. And you made some pretty important points about people's families and their friendships and their jobs, all these things that they have particularly felt ostracized from or abandoned by. And because society has been broken for so long, when it comes to people caring about other people. I mean, you look at people like us who that's just what we do. That's just who we are. The desire to help comes natural to us. But I think that recognizing, you mentioned the George Floyd situation, there are things that we should be able to recognize that are common, whether it's your experience or my experience or someone else's experience. Maybe on the surface they look different because we're paying attention to those differences. But how often do we look at the commonalities that we all share and use those as a unifying piece of our humanity? That rallying cry of we need to help each other because no one else is going to do it. Those people who are in power or who feel like the actions of oppression that they've engaged in for so many generations is normal, they're not going to help us. So we as a community, meaning those of us who are needing to support each other because we don't have that support anywhere else, we need to take that as our soapbox, so to speak, and get on that soapbox and put ourselves in a position where we are helping each other, because we don't learn how to do things or to change based on what we're told, what we're taught, right? Those verbal words, those books that we read, that's not how you learn. You learn through what you observe, the behaviors of others, the behaviors, the things that people engage in. That's how, a nonverbal child who can't speak, they learn how to be a human and become and have humanity around, whether it's their parents or other people. So those people who are suffering, those people who are dealing with that feeling of abandonment, sometimes the most cathartic and healing things in the world helping others, whether it's something really small or something major like your podcast. These things, the little things matter. And so what I want to leave people with that are feeling that way is that, I hate to use the phrase, it can only get better. People say it all the time, and that's a true statement. We've gotten to the point where we're so low. The only thing that we can do is get better, and supporting each other as a community is how we're going to have to do that. And those people may feel helpless or powerless to do that because they are feeling the way that they're feeling abandoned. But people need to realize that it's not what you have to offer. You have to be rich or have a podcast or a platform. You just have to have empathy. And sharing your experience with other people can actually help other people heal. It can also help us heal. We talked about this in our last conversation. It's like the work that we do can be healing. And, I'm not telling those people who are pathologically, ill, with a major severe mental illness or something like that, where going out and trying to help people and doing things because they're internally unhealthy, is that I'm not telling those folks they need to go and do it, but those people who are dealing with grief, with depression and anxiety and some feelings of abandonment and hopelessness and things like that. I think we talked about in the previous conversation, the best healing for depression is actually getting out and doing things. And because those are restrictions, there's restrictions around it in some areas. Getting on a forum on Facebook, getting on a forum online, becoming part of a support group, having some people that you can bring into your life slowly but surely to help heal those broken pieces that you have. That's one way. But I would not be doing my profession justice if I did not say, I didn't make the recommendation that sometimes professional help is important. Sometimes professional help is needed. We don't ever want to admit or say that we want to go see a therapist or a psychologist or someone who we can talk to, but sometimes that's what's going to help. And you touched on something earlier about the health coach piece, because it doesn't have to be a licensed therapist. It doesn't have to be a psychologist. Sometimes there are mental health coaches that aren't licensed clinicians that can be just as helpful as a person who has a license, who does it has been doing it as a profession for a long period of time. So going to someone who understands what you're going through, going to someone who has empathy, going to someone who understands how to help you overcome those obstacles and those barriers that I talked about earlier, that sometimes is what's necessary. You can use friends, like you said, friends, family, and all that. They've kind of been torn apart. So sometimes that independent person that doesn't have any, connection to you, sometimes is the best person, because they can look at it from the outside, looking in and help you get past that. So I know that's a long description, but like I said, there isn't one way to fix it. Everybody's different. Everybody's experience is different. Everybody's recovery is going to be different.